A warm welcome to everyone joining us today for this important conversation on Nigeria's ranking in the 2024 Global Corruption Perception Index. I am Sarah Eke and I'm joined by my colleague.
Who's a well?
Yes. And our guest today is Mr. Qudus Alafia Esq. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Qudus. So, Mr. Qudus Alafia Esq is a distinguished law professional with a breadth of expertise spanning general litigation, encompassing civil and criminal cases, sports law, real estate, election petitions, corporate through commercial law practice, and arbitration. His prolific contributions as an author, with dissertations published in Nigeria and Germany, significantly advanced Nigeria's legal jurisprudence. Currently, serving as the head of chambers at Chinedu G. Udera and Co. in Uye, Abuja, Mr. Alafia leads a team of legal practitioners providing comprehensive legal services to corporate organizations and private individuals. His outstanding achievements include ranking 41st among the 100 Nigeria's top lawyers by the Legal Eagle Initiative in 2023, and receiving an award for excellence with the West African Law Students Association for his dedication to law education among Nigerian law students. Additionally, Mr. Alafia's commitment to legal education extends to his role as a of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, where he imparts knowledge of business law to his students. Once again, Mr. Qudus Alafia, you're welcome to Athena Voices.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
First of all, we'd like to apologize for starting late. So today we will examine Nigeria's position on the global corruption scale, analyze the factors enabling corruption in our society, and explore potential solutions by drawing lessons from countries that have achieved success in this area. Our discussion draws on insights from the recent Athena Perspectives newsletter article authored by Dr. Father Emmanuel Ijimono, which provides a comprehensive analysis of Nigeria's corruption landscape. So let's get a background into the Corruption Perception Index. The Global Corruption Perception Index, established in 1995, serves as the world's most recognized indicator of public sector corruption. Each year, it ranks approximately 180 countries and territories based on how corrupt their public sector are perceived to be by experts and business leaders. The index measures several key criteria like bribery, diversion of public funds, officials using public office for private gain without consequences, government effectiveness in containing corruption, excessive bureaucracy creating opportunities for corruption, nepotistic appointment in civil service, transparency laws requiring financial disclosures from officials, whistleblower protections, state capture by private interests, and public access to government information. Okay, moving ahead, let's look into Nigeria's position in this Global Corruption Perception Index and progress. In the 2024 Corruption Perception Index ranking, Nigeria placed 140th out of 180 countries, showing a modest improvement from 145th in 2023. This represents a small increase in score from 25 to 26. So this ranking is scored over 100. So 2023 Nigeria scored 25 and they ranked 140th. And 2024 they now scored 26 over 100, ranking 145th. So when we hear 140th position and 145th position, we are going to think that, oh, Nigeria made a lot of progress in their score, but it's just a marginal score of 1%, you know. So this is, like I was saying, this represents a small increase in score from 25 over 100 to 26 points out of 100. Despite having multiple anti-corruption agencies like EFCC, ICPC, CCB, BPP, and NEITI.
We have many of them.
You have so many of them.
Many agencies.
Dr. Barrister Qudus, why has Nigeria only marginally improved its corruption ranking? What systemic factors might be limiting this institutional effectiveness?
Okay, thank you very much. I will try as much as possible not to sound academic.
Okay.
I'll try to let's be practical, so that at least let's take it back to every family, so that we all know that we are all responsible to this index.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that the issue of corruption is a mindset, is a stereotype. And it develops from the unit of the sociological system, which is the family. Now, let's take, for instance, where in a family of, let's say, 4, father, mother, and 2 children, and one is doing much more better than the other, then parents tend to now praise one more than the other, talk down on the other person, to the extent that other person now starts seeing himself as not being sufficient.
Yes, as a failure.
Exactly. At that point, nobody is telling him or her on how best to go about it. So at that point, he started looking at ways of figuring it out, whether through legal or illegal means. And before you know it, such a person, being somebody that is just coming into adulthood, tends to look at what is happening in the society and embrace it. Now, let's not go into the society itself. Or Nigeria,
so you're saying that it starts from the family, from family units.
Basically. So let's now go into Nigeria as a whole. There are several factors, but number one is you made mention of there are several anti-corruption agencies.
Yeah, like the EFCC.
But if you look at it, there is something that is very, very essential here, which is overlapping of duties and jurisdictional conflicts. Now, as a legal practitioner, or should I say as a litigation practitioner, you will see that our court has oftentimes says that it amounts to double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is you cannot punish somebody for an offense more than once. But the court has not gone further to say it amounts to double jeopardy for one anti-corruption agency, for 2 anti-corruption agencies to be investigating the same case at the same time. Instead of sharing intelligence, let there be synergy. You guys are not in conflict. You are not in competition with each other.
You're doing one and the same thing.
If you look at the law establishing the Nigerian police, look at it vis-a-vis the EFCC Act, look at it vis-a-vis the ICPC Act, you will see that as much as that of EFCC is a bit restrictive to financial crime, you will see that police also has the power to investigate financial crime through the NFIU unit. You also see that ICPC,
the special fraud unit.
Yes,
the special fraud
intelligence. Yes. You also see that the ICPC also has the same mandate to do that. So it becomes overlapping to the extent that, okay, Nigerians now, with due respect to every one of us, if you feel, oh, this agency is after me, then I will write to an agency who might be, perhaps I have my let me say, my plug, like the way they say it on the street.
Yes,
you are connected.
Yes.
And of course, they will just write that, oh, we are taking over. At the end of the day, everybody will go back to perhaps under the executive, which is the second problem. so much political interference. Now, all the anti-corruption agencies, you put them under the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice is headed by a minister who is appointed by the president.
Yes.
A president is a product of a political party. So the question is this: when you want to prosecute a member of the same
their
political
bloc
party with the president, does the president have the influence to instruct the minister? Yes. Does the minister has influence to instruct all these heads of
the heads of the agencies?
It's just, so that's why you see that sometimes they will tell you, oh, once all these anti-corruption agencies are after, you just go and join APC.
And you're
You get
still
a
to be
shit.
forgiven.
So until we look back, and that you can see I'm taking it chronologically.
Yes.
So it takes us back to what our loss is. There was a time I was on the program and I was saying that I believe that if truly we want examples of independence of judiciary, independence of all these anti-corruption agencies, take their appointment and their function away completely from any from any approval that has to come from any political appointee. Let it be that it is a civil service or the public service that would dictate who becomes who.
Just like what I saw on the Anti-Corruption Commission section. So I was scrolling through their page and I saw that they have a call for application for people who wants to join the advisory member board. So it's not like the president is coming to appoint people to join this Anti-Corruption Commission. If you feel like you're qualified, you send your CV and you send your applications, and then they sit and and employ you if you're qualified. So you are saying that appointments should be out of the purview of politically elected personnel.
Completely, with due respect. And it does not only affect all these government agencies, all our heads of courts. Doctor, to be a chief judge of a state, to be the president of Court of Appeal or the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the law says you must have gone to law universities to study law. You must have been to law school. You must have been called to bar. You must have spent, if it is high court, reasonably 10 years.
Okay.
Or every other one, 12 to 15 years to be appointed as either high court judge. Then you will have spent a reasonable number of years even before you're not appointed as the administrative head. Look at that procedure, how tedious it is. Now, the appointment of that person now is now recommended. Is by recommendation from the NJC, which will now be done by the president, whom the Constitution says ordinary school certificate.
Okay.
Do you understand? Then, to now be confirmed by the members of the National Assembly, whom the Constitution has also stated by that school set is sufficient. In that regard, do you expect these people to appreciate intellect? Do you expect these people to appreciate expertise, professionalism?
Yes.
Do you expect these people to appreciate service? Do you understand?
Even the years you spend going to school,
exactly,
educating yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it becomes, oh, you expect me to confirm you? Yeah. So what can you do?
What can you do for us? What can you do for us?
Exactly.
Now it also.
And when you look at the floor of the House of the National Assembly, we talk about majority.
It's majority.
It's majority. So even if
majority are uneducated,
God
they are
bless you.
illiterate.
That is
yes.
It's government of what?
Of mediocres. Of mediocres. Okay, so that brings us to the second question. The article by our visiting fellow, Reverend Father Ejimono, it identified lack of political will as one of the issues that we are facing. So the problem now is, do you really think that the government we have today in Nigeria, do you really think they have that political will to fight corruption?
Okay.
Or are they corrupt?
Thank you. Okay, let me take it from, are they corrupt? Well, for me I cannot sit here in all honesty to say whether they are corrupt or not, because as a lawyer, I am meant to deal with evidence.
Evidence.
But let's now go back to, do they have the political will? The question is, ever since this government has come into place, how many politicians, political activists, if I can call them that way,
Political actors,
how many of them have they been, that we know that they have been alleged to have done certain things? How many of them have they brought to book? That takes me to the case of the former governor of Kogi State.
of Kogi State.
Look at the former governor nearly uprooted EFCC. He made an attempt to uproot the entire agency, if not that Supreme Court came to save it. Because the Attorney General of the state had to go directly to the Supreme Court to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to say that the EFCC Act was not duly passed. And had it been the Supreme Court had agreed with him, they would have proscribed EFCC today. So the question is this: if the government is saying they have the political will, how many of your members of your political parties, of course, because a political party eventually comes into government. Sure. Don't forget that by law, we don't even vote for individuals. We vote for political parties. So as we speak, it is the APC that is running Nigeria. So the question is, how many members of the APC that are alleged to have done certain criminal acts, how many of them has the system brought to book? 1. 2. Let's now take away this. Don't let us be particular with respect to this government. Let's go back to the previous government.
They were in power for 16 years.
EFCC, ICPC, all these government and anti-corruption agencies, they use taxpayers' money to prosecute certain people. And to God be the glory, they were actually convicted. But what did the previous government did? They pardoned them. So the question is, to what extent? And the nature of pardon in law takes away every clog that ordinary conviction would have stopped you. For example, our constitution says, oh, if you have been convicted for certain financial crimes, you can't even be a president, you can't be a governor, or perhaps you can't be a senator for a certain number of years. If you look at the Corporate Affairs, Companies and Allied Matters Act, that one is also saying if you have been convicted for an offense which is financial in nature, you cannot even be appointed as a director in a company. Now, they've done everything to convict. Some takes years. And at the end of the day, the government will just say, well, I pardon you. So the question is this: do we have the political will there? The answer is no. Whether this government, whether the previous government, the answer has always been no. Because you will see political actors in courts, even after conviction, you will hear, don't worry now, you've gotten what you want. At the end of the day, we'll get our pardon. And at one point or the other, you will just see the president coming at 7 o'clock, as they usually do, PM. I hereby, then I pardon.
Like we saw in Plateau State, the former governor of Plateau State.
Exactly. Yeah. So, in all honesty, those anti-corruption agencies, it is human being that is running them.
Yes.
So, when you know what you went through to come to court to testify against a PEP, that's politically exposed person, you know the danger and everything you took to, and at the end of the day, they convicted, you are happy, and in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 months, you are hearing that they've pardoned such a person. If you have the opportunity of testifying in another case, will you go? The answer is no. So that's the government needs, and I'll be using this medium to actually employ government.
Yeah. So just a minute, just to add to Dr. Ozo's question, how do you think political will can be strengthened among our leadership?
God bless you. Let's go back to the law. Because enough of our employees.
So you believe that the rule of law is not being applied in the country as it is?
Yes, we have our laws there.
Yes.
Because some people will say, oh, there's no law. No, we have our laws. Just that the laws are not efficient. What do we call efficiency of the law? That's the law being practical now. The law has stated that this is what happened. This is what happened. So how do you apply it? And when you apply it wrongly, or when you apply it inadequately, insufficiently, or you look at the loopholes in the law to sabotage what the law wants to achieve, And that is why in courts, there are rules of interpretation, even where the judge knows that, oh, this is what the law says. But you have looked at your mindset and know where you are going. Then the law says, okay, as a judge, this is what we call golden rule. What do we call golden rule? Golden rule simply means, okay, what does the law want to achieve with this thing? Forget whatever you are interpreting. What we actually want to achieve by this law is this, and the judge will apply it. So let our government be realistic. The time of pardon, there should be criteria for granting pardon to certain individuals. Can there be a pardon for somebody who has been convicted, but there is no, you cannot see that intention that he has
There's remorse.
a new leaf.
There's no remorse.
Somebody is coming from prison and the political party members are taking a series of Ankara
Yes.
to come and welcome the person. Where's the remorseless? What that thing the law wants this thing to achieve, has it been achieved? The answer is no. So the best way I believe that this corruption can be napped in the bud is to go back to our law.
Okay.
When we go back to our law, those loopholes, that's why one of the key nature of law is dynamism. It changes. It look at human character. When he sees that, okay, this is what you people are doing, it changes.
So no law is sacrosanct.
No, exactly. No, there's no, the law is never
It's not cast in stone.
Exactly. So let's look at it and let's, particularly the power granted to the government, to the president, to pardon.
Okay.
So don't just pardon, particularly when you know this case is very, very sensitive.
It's very sensitive and delicate.
Sensitive cases. There are some cases, we have people in prison that it is just maybe they stole food that they actually want. Those are the kind of people you can actually pardon.
Or they were arrested during a raid.
You get so not somebody that the court has established up to Supreme Court, not even High Court, up to Supreme Court. Look at all these cases that they eventually pardoned them. Up to they litigated the case from High Court to Court of Appeal to Supreme Court, and after everything, they said we pardon you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Qudus. Moving on, according to World Justice Project, corruption has cost Nigeria about $550 billion over its 64 years of independence, so averaging about $8.59 billion annually. And at today's exchange rate, we just use 1,500 naira to $1.
550.
But if you're calculating 1,500 naira to $1, that's about 13.31 trillion naira annually. This is what Justice Project is estimating corruption costs Nigeria. So beyond these staggering economic figures, what are the human cost implications of these costs, these corruption costs? How does it affect ordinary Nigerian citizens' access to healthcare, education, and other essential services?
Well, the answer is glaring.
It's very obvious.
It's as sure as today. Today is Wednesday. It is as sure as today. Anybody who has been online will see the so-called online, what do you call the online influencers? Just 500 naira you give to somebody on the street, start rolling on the floor.
Yeah.
It is as clear as today. The level of poverty, although I don't call it poverty anyway, I call it penury.
So we've moved from poverty to penury.
It is as strong as that. It is as strong as, if you are not careful, that you now brandish your wealth unnecessarily. People will visit you to say, we are not even here to just give us part, or else it has gotten to that stage. Let's take, for example, health facility. Go to our government, even in this Abuja. Go to particularly the primary healthcare centers.
Yes. Even the national hospital.
I had a personal experience at the Maitama District Hospital. It was very horrible.
It
was.
You will go to government hospitals and they will tell you, oh, we don't have this, you need to now go to, and that is another corruption on its own.
Yes.
The system. That's why I said everything starts individually. You will see CMD, Chief Medical Director, of having another private hospital elsewhere. That drugs if you check, go to Instagram, let's say for instance, and check the number of engagement of things that are not relevant. Nigerians are there.
Nigerians love to catch cruise.
Exactly, but where we are having issues that needs to be intellectual, you need to intellectually contribute to. Of course, there are cases, of course, whether we like the government or not, there are instances where the National Assembly will say, oh, there is a public hearing for this particular bill.
Yes.
How many Nigerians
are interested? They don't show interest. Okay, let's look at the vulnerable sectors. The article also identifies procurement as one of the areas with the highest quantum of corruption. That's what the article says, in Nigeria. Now, why is this particular sector so vulnerable when it comes to procurement? Maybe somebody is given a contract to buy this tea cup, which we know that it shouldn't be more than 2,000 naira. And when you look at the invoice, we are looking, they can buy it as much as 100,000. Why is procurement one of the vulnerable areas where this corruption thrives? And the second question is, what specific reforms in procurement processes, oversight mechanisms, and transparency requirements could address this systemic weakness when it comes to procurement?
Thank you very much. It will interest you that, well, I wouldn't want to mention names, but the truth is, it will interest you that if you check the data of number of CEOs that we have in Nigeria, the owners of companies that are doing well, whether look at the CEO or what we call in law a shadow director. Look at the shadow. A shadow director is a director who is not visibly in a company, is not visibly a member of a company or a director of a company, but he has a greater influence.
Yes, nothing happens without his knowledge.
Without his knowledge, nothing happens without his instruction. That is who a shadow director is by Kama 2020. Look at them. Majority of them, in fact, half or more than half, are our politicians. They are the ones in government. And because they are the ones in government, they see it as, oh, okay, we are here. I can't be here and I'll be paying for this. Okay. So they look at what
the contract will be awarded to an outsider. That brings us to civil servants. What is the role of civil servants in this procurement act?
Because the corruption has eaten deep. Sir, if you want to travel here now to just Lagos, I'm very sure that by the time you land in Lagos, you must have spent roughly 30,000 naira, because civil servants have even turned to beggars. And they see their role, their duty, as you must pay them. The money government is paying them, the salary government is paying them. It's not that it's not enough, but they are paying them transportation fee. So by the time they now sit on their table to now answer you, to work for you, you have to pay them.
Or to bring out your file.
That means the salary is not enough.
And that's what we are saying now. But when you say salary is not enough, you will still be looking at it. Oh, maybe government is not paying them.
So are you saying that low wages is also one of the causes
factors causing corruption?
Yes,
because I would have said yes.
Hold on. If somebody is being paid 70,000 naira minimum wage, do you think somebody can survive on that? We're looking at what is fueling this corruption in Nigeria. So when it comes to procurement, somebody that is an average civil servant in Abuja now in the ministry, maybe his salary is about 200,000 naira, and he lives in Maitama, has about 5 houses in Wuse. Don't you think there's something wrong in the system?
I agree. I want us to balance this thing. Of course, in Nigeria, we go by majority. And because majority will say the money the government is paying us is not enough, we'll take it as that. But does that mean that there are no civil servants, public servants, that even though their money is as little as nothing,
yes,
they still try as much as possible to uphold what they believe in?
And
we've seen cases where the people that works, maybe cleaners and the like that works in the airport, and they see chunk of money and they return it.
Yes.
Do you understand? So
we see how honest Nigerians.
Exactly. So we can't just say, okay, because government is not paying. I agree that it fuels it.
Yes.
But like I said, it begins with everybody. It's not something we push to a certain set of people. because I believe it is matter of garbage in, garbage out. If from 1999 to date we are still talking about our politicians are corrupt, the question is, what type of person are we in the first place? Because I'm very sure it is not the same person.
What is our moral value?
Exactly. It is not the same person that has been president in 1919 has always been here. The question is this: today, if they appoint any of our family member into where
to be a minister, for instance.
I don't even want to mention any minister into a position that we certainly believe, oh, this is power, this is money. Are we not going to start? Let's even start from the family. Will you not start calling? And when your brother who works in the government says, I don't have money, what goes to your mindset? Why will you tell me you don't have money? Are you saying so? The mindset, everybody has to
What the role to play?
clean that mindset, and it is extremely important. It is extremely, for myself that I'm talking to everybody. So once the mindset starts cleaning up, perhaps it will get to people. Who are the people in government? Let's even start.
I think that why everybody should cleanse their mindset, or why there should be a reorientation, maybe starting from the primary school down to the university level. I also think that there should be incentives. I mean, the public should be incentivized, to encourage this cleansing of mindset.
I agree. Do you now know that we keep, doctor, we keep reproducing the same set of leaders? Why? Because at the time of election, that is when the so-called political actors will now unleash that silent devil in everybody that is saying you must be corrupt. That's when they will unleash it. Some people will go to the polling booth with the mindset, this is the person I want to vote for. Oh, because in 2015 I voted. I didn't vote in 2019 and I didn't vote in 2023. I'm saying it.
What are your reasons?
Your vote counts. You should vote.
I will tell you why. In 2015, we had already said that we were about 4. But this is the person we are voting for. We just believe, let us go and vote for our mindset. And we got there and certain agents came and said, oh, if you can vote for my party, then we are going to give you this, and this. And I was like, why will you? Before you know it, I was even like, okay, if that is the case, why don't you collect their money and still vote for anybody? But what they will now do is that they will tell you, after voting, you will not show it to them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm supposed to be secret ballot.
Exactly.
Yes, you must stop it and show them.
Now take a data of that kind of. So that means money can actually change people's mind. I'm saying it on record. I didn't collect the money, and I later voted for who I wanted to vote. But at the end of the day, I think he had only about 10 votes. And I'm not sure my vote was part of it. So as Nigerians, that's what the way I'm actually going. At the point of the election, our leaders are corrupt. It's very easy to say leaders are corrupt too. But by the time the followers now want to choose, when the power is actually in their hands, to say, yes, this is our own time, then the leaders will turn to you and now open up your own corrupt path so that you can dance to their tune. Then you fall for it. They go back into power. And that is where we are today. That is where we are today. Look at what is happening. I'm so happy that, look at what is happening in Kogi State. At first, when I saw that people are going out for recalling of Senator Natacha, of course, I'm not from Kogi. I don't even have any people. But in my mind, I was like, is it that easy? I was questioning that process. Up until I saw people now, protesting that, no, this is not what we were told. And it means that it is because we have the majority of people who has a mindset, a positive mindset, that this is what we want. I didn't mean that they actually, even at the end of the day, if they later knew that this is what is happening and they've already bribed them, that process could have scaled through. That's why I said, I don't want us to focus more on our leaders.
On the leaders, okay.
Let's come back.
Let's look at ourselves.
No, but
let's look
there should be.
Let's come back.
Something for the leaders.
Let's come back. What I'm saying is, because the leaders are actually the followers, and it is only when it is done in election you will know. With due respect to the governor of Lagos State, is somebody I have a personal. I'm not a member of any political party, but because of his humility, I love Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The way and manner this 2023, at the point I was like, A governor has never been this humiliated. He had to go from one point to unlike before, when somebody would just sit down, I will be blabbing on TV to say, no, I will win this election and nothing will happen. The governor practically went from every nook and cranny,
going to churches,
to
everywhere.
campaign. And at one point or the other, people, Mr. Governor, they will even tell him to his face and will still be begging. That shows the power of the people.
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at these two African islands, the Seychelles and the Cape Verde in West Africa. They've consistently ranked among the least corrupt countries on the continent. So what governance models, historical factors, or institutional arrangements explain their successes in fighting corruption when we compare it to Nigeria? Because these are very small, low populated islands, and they have consistently ranked low, when it comes to corruption. What can we emulate as Nigerians?
Thank you very much. I actually did a background check on them.
Okay.
And yes, some have argued that it is because of their low population.
Okay.
Because their population,
the population is one of the factors.
Is not even up to
Lagos.
No, Lagos is too far. We are talking about 20. As at the last, we are talking about 22 million in Lagos. Let's say maybe Ekiti State.
Yes.
But what I have seen is that I checked into their laws, and I look at our law. We have the laws.
The laws
are there.
Yes.
The laws are there. You will be surprised when certain things happen. Nobody knew that we have something they call Quarantine Act until COVID-19 came in 2020, and they brought out the law. The laws are there. But the question is, do we have the political will for our leaders? And to Nigerians, are we not? You see, when you just sit at the comfort of your house and you believe this person is from my tribe, we share the same religion. Oh, I sit with him every day in church. He comes to our church. I can't go against him now.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is, for me, is corruption on its own.
Corruption on its own. Yeah. Sure.
That means you are taking your interest above every other interest. Whereas governance is not like that. In fact, like Jeremy Bentham of the Utilitarian School of Thought says, he said, let the majority happiness be against that of the minority. Of course, minority will have their say, but majority will have their way. So I've seen that the two countries you mentioned, their citizens have that will, their stereotype. You won't go into their airports, and from the gates they will be saying, you will not be any boss man. How far now?
How far now?
Show us love.
Do weekend.
Show us. And the funniest thing is this: if you don't do it, those people can actually frustrate you.
Sure.
So people now even give, not because of that show us love, but because of what these people are capable of doing.
That brings me to the question: why do we support our family members and our relatives when they are corrupt? Because I've never seen any child, a son or daughter of these, corrupt former governors or former ministers that are being prosecuted. I've never seen their children come out to say, "Look, what daddy did is wrong." Why do we always support our own when it comes to corruption? And there's somebody said something. Said, when corruption favors you, you call it connection.
God bless you. Exactly. Well, for me, I would say it is deeply rooted in custom, and it is deeply rooted in, let's say,
our values.
Our values, exactly. Now, like, look at the Yoruba custom. They will say, I'm going to interpret it, which means no matter how bad your child is, does not mean you are going to throw such a child to the dog. Whereas, ordinarily, when you know that this child has a capacity to turn into something you don't understand, that's why we have the correctional centers. The correctional centers in this regard may not necessarily be the prison.
The prisons, remand homes.
We have what you call the juvenile homes, where they will help you to. How many Nigerians are willing to take their children there? One, two. Even if you not take your children there, how sure are you that people that are running that are even
that you not come out worse?
So I deal with issue of corruption individually rather than collectively. Because each time I see people that are extremely poor and they still stand with whatever they believe in to say, no, this money, well, like
It's our money.
there is this. I can't recollect, but I can't recollect the name and the name of the airline. But I think it happened last year, and it was in Lagos. Who returned $10,000 And they were asking me, why did you return it? It's not my money. Look at that mindset.
Yeah, very simple.
It is not my money. But the question is that I'm very sure that by the time he returns home, many of his people,
family members.
So you return
that
that
God has blessed you and you want to receive the blessing.
Don't tell me you are hungry today.
Yes.
Because
God has blessed you and you refuse to turn down the blessing. Even his church may be angry with such a person.
And the Nigerian system, the stereotype has now gotten to a point where if you are the upright person, then you are the bad person. If you are the one that says, oh no, let's do it the correct way, you may not even live long. Look at this Burkina Faso military leader.
The military leader, yes.
I was seeing it in the news over the weekend that there was an attempt to assassinate him 18 times.
Yes.
And to my mind, I said, why? Is he doing a good job? Yes. Are the people, do they love him? Yes. Do they accept him? Yes. So why assassination attempt?
And of recent, he made the assertion that democracy has not actually developed any country.
Well, with due respect, why if he says I will not accept that?
Okay,
I don't want to accept that because well,
now let's use Nigeria. Let's use Nigeria as a case study. If you say you will not agree,
no. What we are not agreeing with
from 1999 till now,
you're
democracy.
wrong.
No, I'm saying let's use Nigeria as a case study. Has democracy developed Nigeria from 1999 that I started? That's the first time I voted. I started voting.
God bless you, sir. Nigeria is not a good example. To
But there are countries that
you just mentioned 2 countries now.
Okay.
And I'm very sure they are not running military rule.
They are not. They are not even.
And they are doing.
No, that's not to accept military rule.
No, what I'm saying is that if you
Ganifa Wemi says that the worst democracy is better than the best military rule.
Sir, what I'm saying is that if you look at, you see, in jurisprudence, in philosophy, we've come to realize that every philosopher, from the time of this popular philosopher,
is it Aristotle?
Yes, from the time of Aristotle to Plato, you will see that whatever they postulate is to favor them. Study it very well. Jeremy Bentham, what do you call it? This historical school of thought. Every one of them actually postulates things that will favor them. But what I'm saying is that if you go in line with what he says, the general application of that statement simply means military rule is better than democracy. That's why I said that is the difference. So you look at the intent.
You prefer a democracy that does not favor the people in any way, like the one we have.
No, I will prefer democracy that favors people.
Okay.
Because in all honesty, yes, it's doing fine. But the question is, military rule is not.
Is there legitimacy?
Exactly. Is there legitimacy? Or if there is legitimacy, do we truly have the rule of law?
Let me even ask.
Like I'm sorry. Like the Supreme Court said in what's the name of this case? Guardian newspaper versus I can't remember. It's a 1967 case where the Supreme Court said the military rule is not above the law it has made. It is in fact bound by that law. It is to show the essence of what? Rule of law. But what law are you going to be quoting? Like one of my lecturers in the university will say, it is only an idiot that argues with a man holding a gun.
Okay. Like we have in River State today.
Do you understand?
The rule of law has been shifted aside.
Do you understand? So
the man, the sole administrator has gone ahead to appoint local government.
I even heard there is an injunction already.
Okay, to stop him from
stopping.
Okay.
Yes,
because the constitution does not allow.
Then another thing I would also want to highlight is that, well, the president did not appoint a military person because this person is actually
retired. Okay, but he's a military.
Once a military, always a military. So the whole interpretation of everything is in those countries you mentioned and Nigeria. What do they have? They have all their citizens and their leaders have the political will.
Okay.
So when we have the willingness to change, then we will change. And that change does not mean one person too. We're talking about the majority over the minority.
But then let me also ask you specifically. We have had state of emergencies in some states in Nigeria.
Yes.
Where the legislative arm of government and executive arm of government were not suspended. Why do you think we should have these institutions suspended in River State, and the sole administrator is now in charge, and the sole administrator is now, a kind of disbursing the state allocation as he fancies, without being backed by the law? So these are some issues that okay, go ahead.
The issue of River State is very peculiar, like I used to say. In fact, it is a situation that I can say we've never had such in Nigeria
before. You suspend the executive. Somebody was giving an example with Plateau State during the Joshua.
That one does not even come. No, because in River State we have some people are saying like Jonathan did not, when Jonathan declared state of emergency in the law, he didn't remove the governors. He didn't suspend my response was that as at that time, state of emergency is like a weapon used by the president to arrest a situation.
Okay.
You don't arrest all the situations, you arrest a situation. Now, the popularity of Rivers is that we've seen the governor, with due respect to the honor to the executive governor of Rivers State, I do not agree with him with his public vituperation. A governor stating on radio that youth wait for my instruction at the appropriate time. It's not done. A governor that is justifying reasons why a House of Assembly was demolished at night.
Okay. And he presented his budget to three.
It's not exactly to 3 members. It's not. It's those things.
Can 3 members form a quarter?
Exactly. I would say so. So the governor has not.
You're not really done
with my own best. I mean, with my own. In line with my opinion, my personal. He has not done well.
Okay.
He has not done well. Now.
So you
as a whole,
what is removal?
As a whole, not removal. He was not removed. He was suspended.
Oh, yes, now it's one of it's about nomenclature now.
No. When they say removal, you're not coming back
again. Okay.
But suspension. Okay. That means they did not suspend for me. They suspended his activities as the executive, but he still remains. And that is why when you look at the solar situation, you will always see the picture.
His photograph.
Exactly behind to show that yes, the governor is still there.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Qudus, for running out of time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, as we conclude, I would like you to offer your most practical recommendation for strengthening Nigeria's anti-corruption efforts. What specific action could be made or could make the greatest difference in improving our corruption perception index ranking in the next 5 years? Because we have really, we are really stalled between 140 and 150 for over decades, as if there is no going up below. So what do you think is the most specific action that we can make?
Okay. You want us to be like Finland that has maintained number one?
Let's take it. It's Denmark that has actually maintained number one for over decades, but
for 2024 it was Finland. Finland is number one.
Finland, okay.
Yes, it's Finland.
Anyway, for 2 years now. I'm going to speak to Nigerians in the language they understand. Let's stop being religious. Let's be godly.
Okay.
Let everybody stop being religious. When you are religious is when you show to people that, oh, we are saints, we are pure. But when you are talking about godliness, it goes to your privacy. Let everybody checkmate themselves. Whether you're in government, whether you are outside government, whether you are close to people in government, let everybody do the right thing. Enough of our leaders, we are the one putting these leaders there. 2027 will be here now. You will start hearing, I am a this, I am a that. We are from the same place. There's nothing like that. It is our turn. Those things should stop. Let all Nigerians see. Let us see ourselves as one. Let's start talking with one voice. And government, I also plead with the government that these tactics they use to divide us, state of origin. Let all those things be removed.
Be replaced with
who are you? I'm a Nigerian. That is what is best.
State of residence.
Like they do in Rwanda now.
And then, like, so,
you dare not mention
exactly.
Hutu,
So that's why I said, let us be godly more than, let's just remove the religious part of it. So once everybody do the right thing, I believe, like I said, from the family unit, let parents be able to face their children. You have a child that is coming home, that is in school and is coming home to build a house for you
with an iPhone, of 2 million.
We've seen it. I'm sorry, we've seen it on TV, on radio, that we have a principal of a school dancing, and GS3 students are spending money on it because of where have they seen it? So to Nigerians, from myself to every Nigerian, please, let's do the right thing.
Let's have a change of behavior.
Let our stereotype be changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Qudus.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
It was an insightful conversation. Thank you all for joining this insightful contribution to this vital conversation about Nigeria's future. We hope to see you next time on Athena Voices.